So ordered. The gentleman from New York is recognized for 5 minutes.
It is time for us as a Congress to have this long overdue discussion on our involvement in Afghanistan. According to the War Powers Resolution, we have a role to play, and it is time that we as a Congress exercise our authority. Whether you agree or disagree with the escalation in Afghanistan, we need to debate it, we need to vote on it, and we need to make a decision. We must not give up the powers that we were given in the Constitution. In the wake of 9/11, I did support a military response to the direct threat that Afghanistan posed on our nation. I believed then that it was the correct response, and I believe now that it was, in concert with our NATO allies. 9 years later, I believe that Congress has the duty to reevaluate America's involvement in a war that seems to have bogged down with a very few signs of success. I believe that had we not taken our focus off Afghanistan in order to invade and occupy Iraq, we would not be in the situation we're in today. But pressing ahead without regard to our nation's best interests and ignoring Congress's war powers prerogative is the wrong course. Let us be clear. We cannot tolerate the presence of terrorists seeking to harm our nation anywhere in the world. Well, we must ask ourselves if long-term occupations are the correct answer to this threat. We must also be clear in our analysis of our situation in that country. We have a partnership with a government that seems increasingly unstable, corrupt, and almost completely incapable of maintaining control over vast stretches of the country. We seem unable to eradicate the Taliban enemy. They scatter before our troops into lawless regions and then return once our troops leave. Without an effective government in Afghanistan, it's hard to see this pattern changing, as the local population cannot count on the Taliban ever being gone for good. This is a costly war without an end in sight. It's a costly war to our brave soldiers and to their families. It is a costly because resources desperately needed to feed the hungry, to find a way forward on health reform, and to fix our failing schools are being redirected to an effort whose success is questionable. Here at home, we have had precious little debate over this war. We have seen our troops' numbers rise to above those in Iraq, and yet we have no real benchmarks or goals after which we will leave. We continue to spend massive amounts of money to maintain the occupation of both countries. And worst of all, we ask our brave men and women in uniform to continue to sacrifice their lives and bodies to this war without our nation sacrificing similarly. The least we can do to honor their service is to debate and vote properly on this war, and to ensure that our nation is not sending them into battle without careful thought and reflection. Let me conclude by saying that I am from New York City, the place where 9/11 took place, and so I know firsthand the devastation that this caused to my own community. Although I supported the effort to confront bin Laden and the perpetrators of that act, I cannot now, 9 years later, agree to an effort which has moved in a different direction with different goals. Mr. Kucinich, I commend you for raising this painful subject and allowing our chamber to engage in an honest and open debate. Your courage is beyond anything that other members can ever think of. Our troops and our nation deserve no less, and you've given us the chance to debate this, and I thank you.
It's time. Who seeks recognition?